Today I'll be turning this huge lobster tail into an amazing mac and cheese. Hi there guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be making the most amazing mac and cheese, topped with the most beautiful lobster tail. Okay then guys, so let's start with prepping the lobster. I just went with the tail because this one is seriously huge. And as you can see, this one has already been split down the back, and it's had, for lack of a better word, its poo shoot removed. We're just going to slice all the way through the middle of it, cutting it in half, with a little bit of force because it is quite tough to get through that shell. But once you got it into two manageable sized pieces, we're going to then take it to the stove and sear it. So drizzle a touch of olive oil into a pan and get it up to a nice temperature. If when you put the lobsters in you don't hear this sound, you need to take them back out and make sure the pan gets really hot before you put them back in again. But we're just going to be cooking these on the inside to get that meat nice and coloured. And then you want to take them out and leave them to the side to cool down. And then straight into the pan with all that beautiful lobster flavour, you want to chuck 30 grams of butter. Make sure you turn down the heat a little bit as well, just not to burn the butter. And then we're going to chuck in 30 grams of flour. We're going to be giving that a mix around just to let the flour and the butter get to know each other, and we're going to slightly cook the flour out. So you make sure you turn the heat right down as to not burn the flour because it burns very, very easily. And just mix it around before we start pouring in our milk. So as we're making a roux, you need to be adding cold milk as to stop the lumps forming when we add it. We're going to be adding this little bit by little bit. Make sure that the first bit's incorporated before you add the next, but we're going to be adding 750 millilitres in total. Then switch over to a spatula and just slowly stir it on a medium heat just to let it cook through and thicken. I'm going to add a little bit of flavour. So throw in 2 anchovies, a pinch of ground garlic powder, a pinch of paprika, a pinch of nutmeg and a touch of saffron. And then give that little mix together before adding a couple of grinds of black pepper, a nice healthy dose of salt. I advise not pouring it in like this as to avoid any accidents. Throw in a couple of dashes of Worcester sauce, 180 grams of cream cheese, 300 grams of manchego, grated directly into the pan, and give that a good mix together to let it start melting over a medium heat. Then bring it down to a low simmer just to keep it nice and warm while we throw in our macaroni. So make sure you salt the water heavily, throw the macaroni in, and we're going to put a timer on for 6 minutes. And don't forget to remove the shells of the lobster and actually throw them into the boiling water to add extra flavour to our macaroni. I almost forgot, so make sure you don't. Then we're going to chop up 1/2 of our lobster tail into bite-sized pieces and chuck that straight into the sauce. Give it a good stir around, it all adds to the beautiful flavour. Then after the 6 minutes is up, you can remove the lobster shells from the water and transfer the macaroni straight from the pot into the sauce, making sure to bring a little bit of that water with you because it's going to help with the texture of the actual sauce. Give that a good stir around and don't be afraid to add a touch more water into the sauce because we need it nice and creamy because this will dry out in the oven. But then once it's ready, you want to transfer it to your vessel of choice, making sure that lobster is evenly placed throughout. Then we're going to chop up the other part of the lobster into slightly bigger pieces this time, and we're going to lay it across the top. And now for the crusty breadcrumb topping, we're going to throw in 60 grams of butter into the microwave and bring that to a melt before adding it to about 100 grams of panko breadcrumbs, a good pinch of salt, a good pinch of paprika, some roughly chopped parsley, and a good grind of black pepper. Then throw in your butter, give it a good mix around, make sure the panko breadcrumbs are nice and wet before throwing in about 100 grams of freshly grated parmesan. Make sure it's all well and truly combined, and then we're going to start laying it across the top of our mac and cheese. Make sure you get a nice even layer all the way across. You don't want it too thick because you want it to be able to cook all the way through and get to that lobster underneath. Then just garnish with them extra shells, make it look nice and pretty, and we're going to throw this in the oven at 220 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes, or until it looks like this, nice and golden brown and bubbling. You can see all the bubbles and the heat coming through that. It's nice and creamy and overflowing, golden brown on top. The whole house absolutely stinks of lobster, and the dog is going crazy, she really wants some too. Okay, so there you go, that's how you make lobster mac and cheese, and look at it, absolutely incredible. So creamy, cheesy, crunchy. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, do all that stuff. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, just keep cooking. Oh my God.